All right, here we go. UNLV broadcaster bites. I think I like doing this more than the football, but I'm a heavy eater, heavy guy. If you haven't heard broadcaster bites, we talk about the Vittles home and road during the football season. If you can see behind me, it's my green screen's not working right, but I've got a giant bowl chafing dish of chicken wings. We'll explain in a second. Caleb Herring is here. We got some stuff to get to because this is a giganto trip to El Paso. I had an interesting week of eating here in Vegas that we can get to, but I'm going to have to go back first, Caleb, and go back to a situation that unfolded after last week's broadcaster bites because I really got on Nick Murphy because there's a lot of things last week. I didn't like the choice of the restaurants. We hit a couple of decent places, had a few meals that were pretty good, but it was Ann Arbor, and we just weren't out organized. And I'm a lot more organized this week, but we've got a hurdle in front of us. But last week, Nick got really pissed off because I questioned his food choices that he's over chickening it on the road. Chicken wings are fine, but then when you start ordering chicken on top of chicken on top of chicken, and then I know you guys love the freaking what the hell are they? The loaded tots. So I got him about that. And the first time I saw him, like 2 days later, he's like, "You mother." So he was very angry. I'm going to make up for it, but I think you're going to now ruin it. Nick's mom made us
Oh boy.
little banana breads, and I told him, I was like, "Man, that thing was good." We go on the Pro Football Focus like scale. It's our Pro Foodie Focus. So the ratings are 0 to 100. Anything above 80 is really good. You get in the 90s, it's outstanding. 50, 60 is about average. Start going 40s, 30s or below, it is absolute crap. So I thought Nick's mom's banana bread was in the mid 80s, like 83.7. I didn't like your score, and Nick didn't either. He was very insulted.
I'm gonna have to apologize to his mom about this later. Okay, in my defense, all right, before I say my score, I didn't have the biggest sample of it. My daughter actually ate more of it than I did, and she's a picky eater. I had maybe like a nibble of one of her pieces. I was like, and this was, mind you, this was like third day after it'd been out for like it's not at its freshest. So I was like, I've had better. And my standard for banana bread is really high. Like my mom made banana bread growing up.
I
My
know.
grandma, it was like
I can
so
accept that. Yep.
it's tough. So I was like,
You
it
don't get
was
you don't get
good.
a free pass on the show just because you're family.
I mean, you're
We got to
Nick's mom.
grade it.
You're not my mom, right? Like my mom, she's getting 90s. But I love Nick's mom. I'm sure she's a very nice lady. But for me, the small sample I had 3 days after it had been sitting out, it'd been out for 3 days. So it wasn't
Come
fresh
on.
necessarily.
I mean, that's on you.
It's on me. It is. It is. I'll take that.
That's
It's my
outrageous.
bad. It's my bad.
Mine went immediately into one of my 7,000. I got a lot of Tupperware. I ate a lot of leftovers. A lot of stuff is stored for 8 to 10 to 12 days.
Forever.
Still eating at the house.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's on me. I didn't give her a fair shake, but my honest assessment of when I did bite it was 70. That's still based on our rigorous measuring tools and our formulas to get these. That's still a good score. It's good. It's not bad. It's above average in our ranking system. So I mean, I'm sorry, Nick's mom. I'll do better next time.
Well, this trip's so important. It's so important. The Michigan game, while you walk away and you're like, okay, it was solid, right? But it felt like a bigger loss than UNLV suffered. UNLV lost 35-7. To me, this felt like 48-13. I wasn't organized. We were rushed. We got there late. It could have been so much more, which means the pressure is on such a high level to nail it in El Paso, which I think is a great food city. Clearly, there's going to be a focus. I ripped Tex-Mex last week. No, they do Tex-Mex there, but clearly there's a focus on Mexican. I mean, you're right by the border. There's so many places to go to, which can be a blessing and a curse. Because if I go to a Mexican place and it's not a 9 or a 10, I'm going to be so pissed off. It's oh my god. Okay, so here's the thing. I've put in work for 10 days. I've watched
See?
probably 90 minutes combined. Oh, I know. I've been all over YouTube watching shows from Triple D to like Texas specialty shows that go down to El Paso all the time. I've got at least 8 taco places that I found. I've got legendary Mexican restaurants. I watched Padma Lakshmi, who went down to El Paso and did a whole thing on the history of burritos and how we bastardized a burrito and they're out of control now. They're like friggin' footballs. And when they first made them, they were nice. You could actually have like 2 or 3 burritos because it was just basic stuff inside and it's going to be a house-made tortilla. There's all different formulas and recipes. Every place has their claim to great tortillas. And then here's the dilemma. We've got a guy who's very experienced in El Paso. Russ Langer, the lead voice of the Rebels, has been to El Paso dozens of times. Between AAA baseball, he was a New Mexico guy. I think at New Mexico State as well. He knows El Paso. He knows people on the ground in El Paso. And he came over the other day and he told both of us, I've got a place for Friday night. It's my treat, which we have a couple issues here because now do I give up control of the choice on Friday? And I think it's way too early in the season to be treating.
No,
nice gesture.
Yeah.
Nice gesture. Because then what happens is if we're treated and we don't like the choice, we do this for you guys in the audience. if I come back next week and I have low scores and I'm like, well, I didn't pay for it. So now can I give I don't know. You pick. You pick whatever. I'm not an enchilada guy, but say I got duped into some enchiladas. If I come back and I'm like 37 on an enchilada, then I get a Russ be like, you didn't pay for it, you bastard.
I don't know.
I'm so challenged here.
I don't know if Russ realizes the pressure he just put on himself by making this offer. Like, if you treat us, we have this is business we're doing here. This is heavy stuff. The PFF, the pro football, the pro foodie focus is like it's serious stuff. We get serious. Moms, I just hurt a mother's feelings last week over the PFFs. You think I'm going to show you mercy, Russ? You better get it right if you're treating. You better get it right. Either that or I'm just going to order a salad wherever you take me and save room and go out later. Take you back to the hotel and we'll try again. But we're going to be honest on broadcaster bites. That's the only way we know how to do this.
Can you imagine if we go to Russ's choice? By the way, I was going to make a Nick joke because the nightmare is Nick goes to a Mexican place that Russ picks in a border town. And then Nick is like, I got to back it up with chicken fingers. That just was not like, I mean, at that point, we might get beat up.
Yes.
We might get deported. Someone might walk us across. Someone could walk us across the border and they're like, you're not coming back in. It's Nick's fault. You can't order chicken fingers at a Mexican restaurant.
It's over
on the border.
We decided to build a wall today and you're going to be on the wrong side of it. Like, I mean,
I'll tell you, the other pressure here is Danny Smythe's going on the trip as the engineer. And Danny has taken our lead. He's a son of a bitch on these ratings. He is tough. Younger guy, he could be a pushover, but he gave out some hard scores last year.
He was serious about it. What was it? The Notre Dame trip he went with us to South Bend. Harsh grader. I was not expecting it, but I like it. That's what we are. That's what Broadcaster Bites is. If we want to give the people what they want, we have to be honest about it. Like, you need to know what's good in El Paso and what's not. And I'm sorry. I've only passed through El Paso on road trips when I was younger. I never got to stop and really soak in, the
don't take that deep a breath. Wait until you get in the restaurant.
Okay, and so
I'm sure it's a lovely town, and it is the butt of a lot of jokes. I think it's going to be great.
You know what I've heard about Texas, and I didn't find any when we were in San Antonio. Was it a couple years ago at UTSA? The churros in Texas. I've heard stories and legends of churros. I don't know if that's a San Antonio, Texas thing, or if it's all of Texas. I would guess that El Paso would have them. Like you said, close to the border. Churros are like fire. I love churros. Like, I will say this, PFF rating. One thing that's cracked the 80s for me is the Disneyland churros. I don't know if anybody's had those.
Oh, wow.
They do something different there. They're fantastic. Yeah. They're great. So if you're telling me that El Paso or Texas churros are better than Disney's, I might have to sample some of those as well on this road trip.
I have a list of 8 different taco places. We obviously are not going to be able to hit all 8. Yes, I've got 4 breakfast places. I've got a breakfast place that is next to a bar. So that could be, I mean, on game day, can you do it? No. You know what? I'm there earlier than you guys. I might go do, even before Cofield and company, I might have to do a little machaca in the morning and go drink a couple of beers and be kind of lubed up for the afternoon show. Adam Hill can handle it. He can handle it. So
Yeah, he'll
I got a
take
whole list, man. I got a whole list. I'm prepped for this trip. And then the other wild card is it is Texas, and I know we are way south in Texas. Barbecue could be a factor.
late edition. I'm not
I know.
opposed to barbecue.
Yep.
It's cool. You know what? If I because I'm an early riser. I don't know if you are. You probably will be. You probably it
Oh,
depends.
I will be.
But
We completely botched Michigan. I'm not blowing it on Saturday morning. If we have
won't
to be
happen
out
yet.
somewhere at 6:30, 7 in the morning, we're getting a good breakfast.
It's a night game as well. So it's one of the few night games that the Rebels have. 7 p.m. kick, I believe, in El Paso. So 6 p.m.
I
for
love night games.
Vegas. So we have a full day essentially where
Yep.
it's like morning, we can get some breakfast, maybe even grab a bite to eat for lunch, depending on how early we decide to get out to the stadium, hit up
Wow.
another restaurant. I'm getting excited. This could be redemption tour for us in El Paso.
And this is a full trip. The trip begins when we approach the plane to go. I'm flying separately, so you're going to have to deal with this.
Yeah.
Do you have food on the plane? This is not a Michigan trip, but it's not a super short trip. I didn't even look at the flight time. It's like 2.5 hours.
Believe so.
So you're going to want some food. So are you getting UNLV food? Sometimes it's available. Sometimes it's not to us. Do you bring something on? Then we've got a day and a half while we're there. Really, Saturday's a full day and a half of Friday. And then there's the all important trip back. And when it's a late night trip back, you're going to be hungry late at night. And my sources tell me that this place is coming to Vegas. This is not a source thing. Whataburger's coming to Vegas. And Whataburger might be the post game meal. But here's the thing.
Doesn't
Will
keep
there be enough Whataburger? Because it's such a specialty for you have Texans on this team. So
yeah.
they're going to grab a bunch because they can't get it right now. Do we get on that plane and we're like, oh my God, I wanted it? Or do I could just selfishly grab myself my own Whataburger and then have it in Tupperware and it might be cold. Or if you drive the way you did to get back to the airport in Michigan, do we get our own Whataburger? And then, hey, admin people and folks like us who are along for the ride, if you didn't hook yourself up and the players have all the food, which they deserve all of it, you might be SOL because I won't be.
I refuse. I think I'm gonna pack Tupperware. And whether it's Whataburger or
Yeah,
whatever,
he's
I
joining the
think I'm
crew.
joining the Tupperware gang. I will be
Yep.
Tupperwared up, and you and we're supposed to get back in Vegas at 2 a.m. I think that's what the itinerary says, and itinerary
Wow.
usually is a little bit early, so I'm 2:30, 3 is what I'm anticipating because
That's a
I have to
late
drive
flight.
all the way across town to get up to the north end of Las Vegas
Yep.
anyway, once we do land. So I'm not gonna be hungry. I'll tell you that
This,
much.
this is
I
so exciting.
refuse to be hungry on the flight home, and if I have to drive like a maniac to make it happen, to make a Whataburger run, I'll preemptively fill my Tupperware. I'll fill it up Saturday morning. You think I'm afraid to? I'm not pulling any punches here. I will not be hungry on a red-eye flight back to Las
I
Vegas.
mean, you led UNLV to its last bowl game. I don't think you're afraid of anything.
I will do what it takes to have a full stomach on the flight home.
We got to wrap on this because since we're between road trips, we did just have about 8-9 days of Vegas food. I don't know if you went out, if you grabbed lunch somewhere, if you had a proper dinner, anything to cover? Because I got a couple things.
I've got nothing. I did pretty much traditional stuff. Teriyaki madness is always different for me because I don't do it a lot. So I
You
had
like
that.
it?
Yeah, I do like
Get
teriyaki.
the
It's one
rice or
of
the
my favorite.
noodles?
I get the rice, and sometimes if I'm feeling healthy, I do all veggies. That's rare, but I'd like the rice. It's just a little better to me. But
Yeah.
and then I do the spicy stuff. I do the spicy teriyaki, either that or the spicy salmon bowl. Like it's it's one of the best to me.
I'm a very forgetful podcaster and radio person, but I did put a giant picture of chicken wings behind me. What do you mean you didn't have any food experiences the last 10 days in Vegas?
I totally forgot. One of the best road trips or one of the best stadiums we go to as far as food, they treat the press sometimes on the road and at home to a meal. And Allegiant Stadium being one of the newer and one of the best, not just looking stadiums, but they have great service. They have great food. They have a great menu every time. This week, I think it was in some sort of homage to Nashville, Tennessee. They had sort of a Nashville hot infused buffalo chicken wing that Steve sitting in front of, it was actually really, really good chicken wings. I got like a fresh batch. I was like right there in line when they dropped it off. The steam was still coming off. So I may have had a slanted opinion of this, but I'm giving those like 77, 78, like close
That's
to
incredible.
80 on the wing scale. They also had with them, you didn't have them, you just had a regular slider. Your slider got slid. Pork sliders.
Yeah,
The pork was actually good. You didn't
that was
experience it
good.
because your slider was meatless.
Yeah, when they prepped my slider, I grabbed the one. They forgot to put the meat in, so I opened it. It was just barbecue sauce, the roll, and a pickle. Which I was like, I'll eat it anyway. But yeah, that was good. The only I'll tell you the only thing with the pork slider was it was in a chafing dish, and the integrity of the bread got damaged because of the steam, so it got sucked down and stuck
Yeah.
to the pan. But you're not going to complain. It's free food, and I won't go into the story, but I have a long history of just loathing the media that complains about the free food they get. Now, when we're giving ratings on the road, we're paying for it, right?
Yeah. That's
Um,
that's not food that we get
but
gifted. Any gifted food, any gifted anything, shut your mouth and appreciate it. That's how I feel.
yep.
I was
Oh
raised,
my,
Southern family. We always taught you're a
yep,
child of the depression. Like when you get food for
yep.
free, you appreciate it. You eat it. You finish your plate. And that's just how you should do things. But I agree. I'm
Yeah.
right there with you.
Unfortunately, so like we do sound like lunatics, but we are paying for the food in most cases. The media, I'll say, the generation before me, I've seen some experiences that are jaw dropping, and they've actually cost the rest of us because there are a lot of venues now that actually make the media pay for their food at the game. Hey, you got a choice. You can pay like $8 or $10 in here, or you can go down if you want
Hit the concourse.
and pay $25 for a hot dog and a soda. It's your choice. And now they just complain and complain. But you did it to yourselves. I've seen you animals who are 65, 75, even my age, a little bit younger. You're greedy. You're greedy. Two things locally. One, I got a weird pizza showdown. I had two good pizzas this last week. One was from a pizza joint that has 3 locations in town. It's good. It's good. And I'm going to judge this off the crust. I'm very much a crust snob. Um, and I'm not going to insult Italy because actual Italian Neapolitan pizza is different from American pizza, right? I grew up on American pizza. Now I've had Neapolitan. So a local place like, say, Setabello, right, where the oven is like 650 degrees and it cooks in like 4 minutes. But they're usually like more like personal pizzas. They're good. They're not my favorite. They're very good though. Um, these are two places that made more American style pizza, and I'm really big on the crust because as someone who comes from the cradle of pizza, New York, it's New Jersey. A lot of the New York people come over to New Jersey, but we're very snobbish about it. Crust is really important, and a lot of people out here, I don't know why they can't get the crust right, but yeah, in a crust showdown, I actually had pizza from it's called Old School Pizzeria. This is very complimentary, really good toppings. Crust is good. I got to tell you, there's actually a bar, one of the local bars. It's just a one-off. The guy who just bought it did a really good job with the kitchen. Has amazing football specials. A place that used to be the Crowbar. It's called the Tavern now, and they make a bar pie, and it's good, man. Their
Nice.
crust on their pizza was good, and we took it home. We had it for a couple of days. Man, it was good. So I was happy with my two pizza choices.
I love a good pizza joint. And I talked to you about this place in Henderson. It's actually a place that we go to for work a lot. We go for every year. It's become a tradition. We go on opening day for baseball. I do like baseball, so we go for opening day. A bunch of us. One of my coworkers knows the owner, and it's in Henderson. It's called Johnny Mac's. I don't know if you've ever been. It's the pizza is good. He's from the Northeast.
He's from Buffalo. He's
Yeah,
he's
so
a Buffalo guy.
he came down. He's opened the restaurant. The pizza's good. I have no complaints about the pizza. The setting, the atmosphere is great. There's TVs everywhere. It's almost like a sports bar, but more of a restaurant kind of feel. Um, the highlight of this place of Johnny Mac's is the buffalo wings. They have such a variety, such a good cook. Like it's the double crunch type cook where they're sauce, but it's still crunchy. Every time I've gone, phenomenal. Like every flavor of wings, I like. It's like a smorgasbord of wings, and I love it. Like one of my favorite. And I think maybe the atmosphere of opening day and being around the guys and hanging out adds to that. And he's really Johnny Mac himself. He's good with that environment. He lets it happen. So I mean it's up there for me as far as the experience. I haven't been in a while since opening day this year, but because it's all the way like in California from where I live. It's like a small road trip to get there.
Yeah.
But it is great. Once you're there, it's great. If you
Yeah.
hear about it, if you want to go, Johnny Mac's is a good little
Very
pizza.
good. Very good on Boulder Highway, and a very much a favorite of a fellow radio host that we lost last year or 2 years ago now, and Brian Blessing, who's a Buffalo guy. Rest in peace. He loved that place. Loved it. I'll give you one last thing on the pizza, and again, not to be snobby, because when I talk about this stuff, I really am. I'm an animal. I do eat anything. I do. I mean, I'll critique it, but I'm pretty easygoing. On this New Jersey snobbery, and we are jerks, most of us from New Jersey. Not the guy I was with that I'm going to tell a story about because he's actually a client, but we went out about 2 months ago to a local bar chain that has pizza on special during happy hour, and like lots of places do, right? And they brought out the pizza. He had a slice, I had a slice. I think he started a second. That was it. We were done. Bartender comes back and he's like, "Oh, you want a box?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "We're from New Jersey. This didn't do it." I mean, some leftovers. If you heat it up, he's like, "Did you hear what I said?" No.
Yes.
That was it. That was it. And then listen, when Caleb says I'm a child of the Depression, I take everything. I've had times where the SO, my significant other, will get a sandwich, takes the top bun off and a pickle and lettuce, and I will wrap that up. And I'm like, I can make that into a half a sandwich. I take everything.
You guys think he's exaggerating. I've watched him do this. There was like
Oh yeah,
a
I take
buttered piece
everything.
of toast that I was it
Don't
John
care.
Von Tobel JVT had
Yeah, yeah,
left over for breakfast, and you're like, I'm taking
yeah.
it,
Yeah.
and you pulled it out on the
Well,
plane,
I
like
did. I made it. I because I ordered a ham steak and eggs,
yeah.
and then he had some bread, and I took his bread and I made a little half a ham sandwich on the plane.
It was like I was like, you are truly a
I grew
child
up
of
in tough times,
depression.
man. I grew up in tough times. Child of the Depression. By the way, I was a child in 1975. Not really. Not. I mean, it was a bad recession, and gas prices were really high. I didn't really feel the effect of it, but I think I don't. My grandmother must have told like one story.
And it
When
just
she was
scared
like,
you straight into eating everything.
she was like 16 in 1929, and I'm like, yep, I understand. All right, that'll do it for this week's Broadcaster Bites. We do it every week. And please, I should have said this at the beginning and the middle, but at the end here, mentioning if you have anything on El Paso, man, any inside dope, we're looking for any snitch because I know it's a great restaurant town and a bar town, especially bars. We need to find some good bars. And yeah, send over some messages too. Should we be walking across the bridge over to Juarez? Is that a wise trip? I've asked some people. I haven't gotten really good feedback on that one.